Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, where business insight meets startup innovation. Brought to you live from Silicon Valley, California. Please give a warm welcome to your host, Brian Sparks.
Let's let it rip. We're a little extra rowdy today. Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact. I'm your host, Brian Sparks. The purpose of this show is to have honest conversations about what it takes to build great businesses and communities so that you can make an impact within your own. Way to land it, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
You hit the script today.
I'm amazed that I'm like doing my stuff, and before I even look up, you're just launching. Like, you have nothing to say. Like, you have no hellos, you have no niceties, no pleasantries, no like, hey, Brian, how you doing over there?
It's all business,
It's
Brian.
all business,
Yeah, I got my game
man.
face on.
Like you got just a little ahead of me, and I couldn't even like prevent you from launching. Like, I don't even know if people are listening by the time you launch in.
I know, that's true.
How are you, Brian?
I'm good. It's good to see you. Yeah, there's a lot going on. We got a lot of events.
You're eager to get on with it.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a vibe because I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, we got JP in the house.
Yeah.
We got Clay. We got Mike.
Yeah.
And
we got Graham.
And we got Graham in the background.
Yeah, Graham, way over here. This way.
Way in the background. For those of you on YouTube, you can now watch us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've had a lot of energy.
I want to say right now, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button right this minute, okay? And if you're not watching on YouTube, go over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button right this minute.
Put some faces to these voices.
Okay.
All right.
You go ahead, man.
So, Brian, I got to let you know, I didn't let you know this before the show.
Yeah.
So with all this movement we got going on, I just heard from Dave Leibowitz again.
Yeah.
Opal.
Yeah.
We're not doing New York, but we're doing Napa.
Oh.
So we will be in Napa in October.
Oh, that'll be fun.
In between SF Tech Week and TechCrunch.
So basically you and me out wine tasting all day, rolling in completely just lit up and doing our show.
And doing the show. It'll sound completely normal to those of you listening, but for us, we'll be on another level.
That's right. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Napa's for, right?
It is.
I mean, it's kind of like Vegas of California.
Yeah, so look for more information coming up as we'll be there in the big month of October. Those of you who are in Silicon Valley know that October is a big month for events with Tech Week and TechCrunch in Silicon Valley, LA Tech Week, and I bet you guys are going down there too, right? For LA?
We'll be here. Yep.
Okay.
We'll be here.
All right. So all of that going on. Stay tuned for more information on that and all the guests that we'll have on Silicon Valley Impact then. All right. Brian, you ready for this?
You go. Have a great show, Brian.
All right.
Well, I'll be right here.
Are we okay? Yeah, okay?
No, we're good. We're
Okay.
we're absolutely good. Thank you.
All right, so let's bring in our guests for today. We do have Dan joining us a little bit later, but for now, JP, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too.
Have you back, my neighbor, my legit neighbor. Mike and Clay. You know, I don't read intros, so I definitely want you guys to introduce yourself for our audience. JP, I'll start with you because you're a repeat guest.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so give a little quick
bullied
intro.
me in again.
I did. I roped you in. You were walking down the street and snatched you by your collar, and here you are with Graham.
Yeah, actually, it's fun to have my business partner in crime with me, Graham. We are from Shocker VC. We are a venture fund investing in early stage companies. And basically, we love highly technical, product-oriented founders, and that's who we brought with today. Okay. And yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions of what made them fundable, but Brian, go ahead. I heard you take a deep breath.
I just want to emphasize that these are folks who are working with you, and that's why they're here today, because we're going to kind of get a sense of that relationship between you guys and some highly technical founders that you've brought with you.
Absolutely.
I think this is the first time we've had investor with their portfolio company in the studio.
It's cool.
That's kind of cool.
I think it makes sense. I mean, I think it's time. We should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah.
This could go off the rails.
This could go. We're hoping so. That's what we're aiming
Starting
for.
Starting cool.
Well, Mike, go ahead and give us a little intro about what you're working on and let our audience know a little about you.
Yeah. Well, no, thanks so much for having us again. I'll let Clay introduce himself so I won't steal too much of his thunder, but my name is Michael Hoy. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Atlas. Really grateful to work with JP and Graham at Shucker. They are backing us because we are helping AI and SaaS companies price and package their products and deploy any business model without utilizing their engineers. We're solving two of the biggest challenges that most companies launching agents have today, which is how do I figure out what I should charge my customers for my product? And then how do I test, learn, and iterate on that very, very quickly? So we're here in the Bay Area this week, obviously hanging out with you guys.
Where are you based?
So we're kind of everywhere. Our team is in 2 different countries right now. And I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. Clay is in Santa Barbara. We've got a few people in Barcelona and spread out across the United States. So hey at home to all of our Atlas team members. Yeah. Clay, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. So Clay Miner, again, thanks again. This is fun. This is a cool studio. But yes, co-founder, you can call me a CTO, CPO. I like to think of myself as the shower thoughts guy, which is true.
That's a whole new podcast.
That's a different podcast. That's a late night podcast.
A lot of 2 a.m. phone calls from Clay.
That's right. No, I do. I write on napkins a lot. That's where I do my best work. But no, happy to be here. And yeah, it's been fun building this company with Mike. We worked together for a long time before this. And it's just an exciting time to be building. I mean, I think we all know that. That's why we're here. But yeah, me and Graham were just talking about business cycles, and this cycle is being supercharged by this massive change.
Well, I feel that this is what I encourage is kicking around our conversation. There's not going to be buckets. We're just going to be like, hey, tell me more about that. So, what is this your first company, or are you guys repeat founders?
Yes. So funny story. We won't get deep, but yeah, this is, I think, my third company. The first one was when I was 14 or 15, and my parents would literally drop me off, and I would install wireless routers at businesses.
Figure out how to get home.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was coming.
But I actually ended up getting audited by the state of Colorado for not paying taxes for the income that I made.
Train them young.
I learned the hard way there. You got to pay Uncle Sam. But no, I tried something else a couple years ago that didn't really go anywhere, and this is my third run. And I know Mike has had a couple other businesses as well.
Yeah, this is, I think this is the first company that Clay and I have started together. It is not the first product that we've built together. This is similar to Clay's, this is the third company that I've started. I've been fortunate enough to exit one of those. Both companies that I started before this one were real ass kickings. And so we're just back for more.
Forged by the fire.
Love that. But Clay and I met at our pretty extensive tenures at a company called Pendo, a big product analytics and product adoption company based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. But Clay and I, we worked together there for about 7 years. Doing both the building product, building go-to-market motions, selling customers that were startups all the way up to like the Walmarts of the world, and learn pretty quickly that we love building things together.
And so this is when you came up with the original idea for Atlas. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I would say Atlas is probably the third iteration.
But still the same kind of partnership direction.
Yeah.
But it pivots, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were just fascinated in kind of finance and money movement, and we went down the world of actually building new payment rails, and we were convinced that everybody was going to get on the Bitcoin standard. And
earmuffs, Graham. we were very into crypto. Earmuffs.
But it turns out not everybody's ready for that yet. And so no, we did have some frustrations, both of us. I ran kind of the churn number, so I was dealing with a bunch of frustrated customers that were not happy with the price to value that we were asking for renewal. And
so that's where you saw the pain in the beginning.
Yeah, on that side. And then Mike was running the commercial sales business, so he was trying to convert customers that were saying, well, your pricing model doesn't make sense. And we both would go to engineering and ask, hey, let's change this, let's make this better, let's fit the needs of our customers. And it was always like, yeah, well, that'll take us 4 quarters and an army of engineers, and it was classic. There's got to be a better way.
I just got to pin this part. What year was this? Because I want to kind of get a timeline for our audience.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 2023. I think it was right as transparently, it was not as AI products were yet prominent in the space, but we were still starting to see buyers shift the way they wanted to pay for their software. More value-based, payment methods, more like usage-based pricing was coming into focus.
It was post, the COVID bloat where SaaS was going crazy and everybody was tightening the purse strings. And so, people were really questioning, are we getting value here? And I think we kind of got lucky in a sense that we had gone down this world of flexible billing infrastructure and, reacting to changes in market dynamics, which was happening because of the post-COVID slump. But then AI hit and everybody had to care about this.
So I've got my investor. I mean, I'm always curious how a company was built. I want that run up. But what I'm listening now is with my investor ears, and I'm sure this is where Graham and JP saw, is like there's a good portfolio in terms of founder fit here. There's the experience, there's opportunity, there's the energy, there's the it factor. And so, JP, did you see this dynamic, the opportunity, the pain point, the expertise coming together just on the founder side? Let's never mind to the business model yet, but did you see this early? And how important is this for you as an investor to see this dynamic and this founder fit early?
No, absolutely. I mean, I met the guys last year in this late summer, and the dating started, and we.
I remember our first meeting. Yeah. It's like yesterday.
It was not going to be a summer fling.
No.
It wasn't the shower. Why is it?
No shower thoughts. This is.
I was actually wondering if he starts drawing on the shower glass and then tells his spouse that, hey, do not use the squeegee until I actually put it on my napkin.
Turn the fan off. Yeah.
Okay.
So we really started talking. We had a lot of ideas. I met them at 500 Global as a mentor there, and where I just was drawn to is, number one, the fit of the two co-founders. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, oh, you should not invest into single founder companies. Co-founders are always better, but like in a venture fund, co-founders have to get along for a long time. It's in a startup as well. So the chemistry was really there. That said, the product velocity the guys put to play was really what sold Graham and myself.
Yeah, and what did that look like?
Weekly changes. Mm-hmm. They talked about something. Hey, we just did this. We built this. We built that. We have a new feature.
So let me merge what Clay was saying and what you're saying, JP, is that there was a lot of iterations, there was a lot of progress, there was a lot of traction. Now, was it just like spray and pray, or was it intentional? And then, of course, there was this, now we need to pivot. Like, where was that on the spectrum?
I wouldn't say spray and pray at all. We do not do spray and pray at Chakra.
Yeah.
We actually are really deliberate in who we invest in.
I'm talking about what you saw, right?
No, I saw the strategy is hitting the pain point of all the startups I've worked in the past. Seeing the problem that, how do I price my offering? Who do I give the best feature, the lowest value add feature?
Yeah.
And the guys really were extremely deliberate in building a product that supports that motion in a startup when you don't have it there. Because most startups don't think about it until the feature's been built.
So the execution was precise at that point.
Extremely precise and extremely domain oriented.
Yeah, and JP's given us a lot of credit here. I will say we do love to talk about ICP inside of our business. It is something that we revisit. We revisit the conversation weekly. We redefine monthly, and it did take us 6 to 9 months to really feel like, okay, yes, we built a product that touched on all of these pain points, but where is the best starting point for us? And JP and Graham have literally rode shotgun in that conversation multiple times and have been huge value adds for us. But it's kind of the byproduct of when you're solving a problem that exists up and down the kind of the business stack is you got to you can't serve everybody all at once. You got to figure out who is the best person to serve.
So let's talk about that for our founders who are listening. You gave yourself kind of a timeline right now, and it may have gone a little bit longer, it may have been a little shorter, but what was kind of the process in nailing down that ICP? Because a lot of times founders will get hung up on just building the perfect product, but you intentionally put a lot of effort into identifying who are we solving this pain point for? What is that profile? What was that journey like?
I think, I'm curious what you say, but I think you have to be ready to fail. Like you got to pick a direction.
Yeah.
And we picked a lot of directions that were wrong. But
There were
we
some
picked,
swing and misses,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. But we picked one.
Yeah.
And I think that what I've seen a lot of kind of early first-time founders do is they, like you said, they want to build a perfect product and they have this hypothesis and they finally go and they put it in front of somebody and it's like doesn't work. Where we were putting sketches, like literally notebook sketches in front of people, be like, hey, would you use something like this? And we went down the road of serving a much kind of larger, more sophisticated customer at the beginning, and then from talking to people before we built product, realized like, holy shit, like there's no way we're ready for that. We got to build all this compliance and security, and so we kind of rolled it back and started down another path. And so I think for me it was more of just test and iterate and fail fast, and I think. Be open to some surprises and let the data tell you where to go.
Yeah. And so you're building, you're finding a sweet spot. What kept you going? Because I want to get back to for a founder, it's easy to have passion in the beginning. In the beginning, you're creating, you're in the space, but yet what kept the passion going? Why do you love doing what you're doing so much? And Brian, you're laughing at me. What's going on over there? What did I say? Did I stumble?
It's easy to have passion in the morning is what you
I know. I heard it when I said it.
and now I feel like we're back on the shower thing.
Exactly.
I don't know where that come from. All right.
I shower in the evening.
I'm just wondering how you wake up in the morning,
More
Brian.
of a
Like, what's
night-
going on in your world?
More of a night owl. but it's a good question, and I think like both Clay and I will tell you that 90% of this sucks, but the 10% that doesn't is way outweighs the time that doesn't, right? And like, it's when you're starting out, especially when you're coming from a world, Clay and I have experience starting companies, but we were coming from a company like Pendo that was on the whole winning every single day. And you get really accustomed to that.
Desensitized to the closed one and to the celebrations and the happy hours. Just another quarter, we crushed it.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's
like that in the real life.
Yeah, no, my gosh, it's awesome. But in the early stages of a business, you can go weeks without a win, and so there are a few things in my mind. Clay, I won't speak for you here, but there are a few things in my mind that kept us going. One is from the very beginning, like Clay and I, have been very open with why we're doing this. Right? Very transparently why we're doing this. And I think one of the things that I love about the way Clay and I work together is we consistently remind each other, hey man, remember why you're doing this.
I need to know, and if you've said it already, I'm sorry, but why are you doing this?
I've got 3 reasons. The first is I have 5 children at home, and I desperately want to set an example for all of them that they can be in control of what they do. They can find the epicenter of the thing they do really well and then the thing that people will pay them for. It's not going to be easy to figure out what that is, but it's possible. The second reason is I'm an absolute glory whore. So this
I love your shamelessness. We're going to be friends.
Oh my gosh. So I'm on cloud 9 right now. I'm on camera. I get to speak into a microphone. I love this.
I want to know what's in that drink, and then we can really be talking.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, man. The third is I'm insanely competitive. I absolutely want to be the best. It kind of goes hand in hand with number 2, right? But I love winning. Just love winning.
You're one of those people.
I'm absolutely one of those people. And the way that I have found that I'm good at winning is creating value for other businesses that are trying to succeed. And so this was a great modality for that. And I think yours are similar, but slightly different.
I do want to just say one thing, because I think it'd be good for the listeners. You talk about just how do you stay motivated, and I think there was a great quote on X or Twitter or whatever we're calling it these days that was talking about early stage founder life, and it was a similar question, like how do you stay motivated? How do you not quit? And the response was like, I quit all the time. I just wake up the next morning, I start again.
Yes,
and I do
again for those in the back.
I do feel that. I mean, Mike knows. I went on spring break with my family, and I was texting him. I was like, I just don't know if I can do this. I just don't know if I can do it. I came back and cleared my head, had a chat. All right, I'm in again. Let's go. And I think that a lot of that is the team and having good people around you, good investors, good teammates that motivate you, and then the wins. But but yeah, why I'm here is very similar to Mike. I also have young children, and I think that's my number one, it was just interesting. And we actually took this, we had a structured test. Was it a test? What was it? A survey?
Yeah.
Before we incorporated and did anything, 3 years ago, we sat down in an Airbnb in Denver, and we both, filled something out that was our why to make sure that we were doing this for the right reasons, and we were compatible. And I still remember that.
If you start a company with someone, you're getting married to them.
Yeah.
So like, it was like, I don't know. I brought this to you almost like a, what do you call it when you pre-marriage prenup. I was like, okay, we gotta figure this out. We've been working together for a few years, but are we really aligned?
Are we? Yeah, exactly.
Like, you show up at his door one day and you're like, okay, I'm ready to get married. He's like, dude.
I mean, we went to Denver. We stayed in an Airbnb together. It was virtually a honeymoon.
Yeah, it was.
But we came out of that saying like, okay, there are obviously things that we don't align on, but those things are going to
sharpen you though.
Yeah, that friction's going to make us better. The really important things, like why are we here, are things that even if those are different, they don't have to be the same. But like, man, we really respect that in the other one, and we can continue to, when the chips are down for you, I'm like, hey, remember why you're doing this.
Pick each other up.
Vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is good. So I got to ask you guys. Oftentimes we have startups on here that are still looking to raise, and you're here. You've now raised. What was that journey like for you? Were you kicking, on a lot of doors, banging on a lot of doors, and then how did you guys get connected with Shucker?
Yeah.
What was that journey like?
Yeah, JP and I were just reflecting on this as we're, you're as a set of founders, as a founder, you're always raising, right? So I feel so grateful, especially in the climate we have right now, that we were able to do what we did this year, and a lot of that was with the help of JP and Graham. But it was painful. It was a really difficult process, but I think more importantly, it taught us so much. Taught us a lot about how much tighter we needed to be with our story. It taught us, I think we were a bit naive when we went to the market to raise initially with what we had accomplished and how much just a story would be able to carry us.
What does that mean? Say story, because a lot of people on the front end don't think the story matters. They just think their features matter and a good idea matters. But now you're saying that there's a package.
Yeah, look, fundraising is no different than like an enterprise sale, right? Like you have, there's no silver bullet. You have to have all of the components. The product has to make sense. In terms of like raising money, you have to have traction, or you have to have built credibility and trust. You also have to be able to tell a really good story about what's going to happen in the future. And then you need to put the time and the repetition in. The relationships that you have to build within fundraising take time.
Yeah.
I think when I look back to the conversations, Clay and Mike have a tremendous product, but it's extremely complex for someone who is just an investor. It resonates really well for people who actually have been in the position of building. And if you're just an investor, you look at certain things through a lens that is differentiated than if you have built something before. And Graham and I have been on the builder side. We know the problem they're solving, the pain points they're trying to really remove, and the vitamins they're creating for businesses in the future. And that's what attracted us to Atlas. It's like, it's more about the vitamin than the painkillers. And the vitamins they're building are an unlock for all these new businesses who are emerging right now, but also for all these businesses who are trying to figure out what is happening with enterprise software, because it's not a seat-based model anymore. We know that. It's going to go to an outcome-based, value-based model. How it will look, the Atlas guys will actually define that.
Well, that's contrary to the traditional kind of framework for investing. People want painkillers. Double click on that just a little bit about it being a vitamin, because I truly believe that you don't need to have this tremendous pain point to create a better product for somebody to be more efficient. But tell me a little bit more about, from your perspective, what do you mean by...
Well, when I look at vitamins, I look at the fact that does it add value to the overall business you're selling into? If you're just trying to take something away, which was a pain, how sustainable is it? And we all know taking painkillers is not sustainable. Vitamins are much more sustainable.
So it's like legalizing performance enhancing, right?
Yeah. We're selling human growth hormone.
You are, yeah, and it's okay in this context, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
when you look at it
true,
from a perspective of building value, if you help a business being better, building more revenue, building more customer traction, how sticky are you? Extremely sticky. If you're just taking something away in the short term, it gets really quickly lost in your overall business mentality. Meaning that if I'm taking away one element which was a pain point for me, and in the first 6 months, I remember it once a month. Second 6 months, maybe once every 2 months. Come year 2, why do we pay Atlas money? And that's where SaaS fails. But if you build vitamins and you know that having Atlas in my tech stack, building a product, enabling my product to grow, building new features through Atlas, says help, I can always relate to the value that Atlas brings me. If it's just taking away one pain point, I will forget about it 2 years down the road.
And we've talked about this a little bit too. Like, I think this is not a novel idea, right? But Clay and I will, whenever we're kind of thinking about whether it's a 3-month vision or 2-year vision, we tend to ask ourselves, hey, is this just a slightly better way of doing what is already out there? Or are we creating or unlocking new value for a business that isn't possible today? And sometimes what we come up with, we go, shit, it's just slightly better. And then we have to decide, okay, is this table stakes, right? Are customers still expecting it? Or can we educate them on a radically new way of doing things? And I think to JP's point, like, you know, and we'll admit that one of the things we're still growing in is like, okay, how do we educate people on what we do? Billing infrastructure, that exists. That's not sexy. Everybody knows about it. But what about billing infrastructure with pricing and packaging, AI built in, and it self-updates and it's dynamic and it alerts you to customers that are ripe for churn and upsell, and it can automatically deploy, you know, offers and promos and ways in which to save those customers. Like, those are AI workflows right now that don't exist and are, you know, things currently done by humans and take a lot of time, and it can be difficult to educate people on that very concisely.
So I got a couple follow-up questions about how you're educating the market on what you're doing, and then some customer experience questions. But JP, you're smiling. What's on the tip of your tongue?
I was just thinking, it's interesting because too often we try to kind of think about there is a persona out there we have to tailor to. And what Mike and Clay are doing really well is they're actually saying what we are solving for has not had a persona in an organization.
Yeah.
And we're solving for that gap in the organization, which has always been an afterthought.
Yeah.
And I think this is like something we tend to forget when we look at startups. Usually startups are like, oh, I'm going towards a product manager, or I'm going to the CFO, or I'm going to the data department. What Clay and Mike are building is actually something that should be with an engineer, should be with a head of product, should be with a head of customer success. It's a stack that helps you not only remove churn or enable upselling, but also how do I in the future price something? SaaS has not been good in figuring out pricing. If you have ever been on the buyer side, I was in a big multi-corporation. It's like, oh, well, I can buy per user, X amount of users, or I have a setup fee. I have all of these like pricing elements which are coming in, and everything is priced in a way that I want everything, but I can only have something. It's like when you bought your VW Atlas. You usually have a ton of options. Do I want to have seat heating, or do I just want to have like the 16-inch wheels? Or
so wait, let me ask you a quick question, JP. Are you saying that you had this problem back when you were working in corporate?
Yeah, and I had this as an investor in SaaS companies. The biggest problem whenever there was this big feature release is like, how are we pricing it? How are we not getting one of our customer group upset that we're not giving them the feature? And how are we making sure that the other customer group is willing to to buy that feature.
I'd be curious to ask Graham, I know he's not on the mic right now, but he's in the background. If there was a conversation between you two about you being too close to the problem to be making a decision on this, if that ever came up. Because I talked to an investor last week and I'm saying, hey, they said something similar. Well, they identify the problem that they had in their own life. And I'm saying, should investors be looking at problems that they themselves have experienced? And they said no, actually, that would be too close. It just happened to be that way in this one. So I'm just curious because, again, when you look from investing from multiple perspectives, you enrich it, and I find it super interesting. I mean, it sounds like you hit a home run with these guys, but as investors who are listening, if they've experienced the problem, would they be too close, or do you take the other end of the spectrum and say, no, that's fine?
Remember, Brian, we are not the typical investor.
No, you're not. That's why you're so amazing. Yeah,
we do a lot on value add, and I think Graham and he can chime in. We want to be excited about what we're investing in, and we want to see a future in that product. We don't invest for today, we invest for the future.
Yeah.
As investors, we have to have that foresight. And at the end of the day, we saw that where the industry with AI and agents is going, there is nothing there besides the tokenization, which is lame and is not going to work on a scale, that can actually fix this problem about how do I sell an agent? How do I sell a value-based outcome? And luckily, serendipity has it, we met these guys.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, as investors, we need to understand where is technology going. If we find an unlock in that journey that can be a portfolio company, we would be nuts not to invest in it.
Yeah, I agree. So when we come back, again, I got two questions on how you are approaching educating the market with this new niche that you're finding. And then what is the customer's experience? I kind of like to know a little bit more about that. So we'll dive into that, and then we'll see if Dan's here. Brian, take us away. He'll have his wind. All right, welcome back to the second half of the show. We're here with Graham, JP, Clay, and Mike of Atlas. Dan joined us. Good to have you, buddy. Glad you could make it. You got a little journey story to just get to the studio, right?
Sure
I mean,
do.
you had to rent a. What were you saying? You climbed a mountain, rode a horse in a bug and carry. What else were you doing?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, man. People, what they'll do to get to the show. But glad to have you here. And to bring people up to speed on what you're working on, just kind of give a high-level intro of who you are and what you're working on.
Yeah, of course. So you guys already met some amazing guests today that are working on some SaaS. So the simplest way that I can explain what we do is we're an investment tool that is foundationally deep tech. So what we're trying to do is replace the antiquated investment models that were invented over 70 years ago that are currently used by every single financial advisor and financial planner in the world, and then apply that and make that available both through a licensing model and an asset allocation as a service model. So you guys do SaaS, we do ass, I guess you could say.
Love it. You can curse on this show.
Yeah,
We did
you say
ask,
you're
so
an
we're-
ass man. Okay, all right.
There we go.
Dan, give your full name because people don't know who you are, and then talk about your little bit. You said what you're doing, but the company and kind of your run up a little bit. Brian, go ahead.
When we're getting Dan's rundown on that, I would like to also know what the old model that you're replacing is. So we have a frame of reference as to what was and what now shall be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the old models for every single financial advisor currently today uses a model called modern portfolio theory, which derived from that is called strategic asset allocation. And that is a derivative of a PhD thesis that was written in 1952 by a guy named Harry Markowitz. And everybody's doing this because safety in numbers. As soon as you deviate from that, you have to actually justify your returns and risk-adjusted returns.
Some people summarize this, I think, as diversification.
Yes, exactly. But the world's changed in the last 70 years when Harry Markowitz came up with mean variance optimization. The correlation of different asset classes, US equities, European equities, was mostly uncorrelated. So you can have different asset classes and benefit from diversification. Today, the correlation approaches 1 during a market crash. Everything's going down.
Got it. All right. So, Dan, I know who you are, but our audience doesn't know who you are. So give us your name to the over 20 countries that are listening now, and then kind of also go back. Like, what got you into this? Why did you see that there was a value to be added here or a pain to be solved here? Kind of that run up.
Yeah, of course. So the best way I can explain it is
the name.
I am Daniel Idzkowski.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
So, yes, I got it. The best way I can explain it is I'm a recovering hedge fund quant. When your parents are immigrants, refugees from a communist country, Poland in my case, you only have a few options for career choices, doctor, lawyer, or financier of some sort, but you have to go into a high-paying job, basically. So I don't do blood. I can't memorize things for the life of me, so there was only one option left, so I'd start my career there. But what I really enjoy doing is crazy stuff, frankly.
Right. Say more.
Because some entrepreneurs, there's 2 types. There's the entrepreneur that spends 20 years on one thing their entire life, and they get really good at it, and then they start building businesses. These are generally scientists, technologists, etc. I'm an opportunistic entrepreneur. Every single business I've started has been a fundamentally different industry. I've been able to bring a different perspective. So many of my friends know me as the SKUNKLOCK guy because I invented the exploding bike lock that explodes with noxious vomit-inducing chemicals when a thief cuts it. And that turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry where today people laugh at anyone that buys a bike lock that doesn't have either chemicals or some other technology that fights back against thieves.
All right. So this is company number...
That was company number 3, believe it or not.
Okay. And the one you're working on now is...
This one's number 5.
Nice. Okay. So we got some veterans in the house today. Before we went to the break, just to kind of bring you up to speed, Dan, we were talking with Mike and Clay about what they were creating, and to bring you up to speed on what they're creating, they're going to give you a little overview on that, because my question to them was, how are you educating the market on the new niche that you're filling? And then what is that customer experience? And I'll ask you the same thing, Dan, because I'm curious how the customers are being educated on what you're creating and what that experience is for them. But Mike, Clay, I'll kick it to you to kind of unpack that a little bit.
But to be honest, I'm more excited about derivatives and diversification.
I just want to point out, we didn't hear what Dan does.
He has a startup.
He has a startup, but
This is his fifth
we
startup.
heard the old model, the antiquated model.
Oh yeah, you did ask a question.
But we didn't hear what what his solution is for replacing that model.
And I have so many. This is it is taking all of my self-control to not hijack this podcast.
I'm going to pass you.
Well done, Mike. Well done, man.
I'm the same way.
No, it's not because you're doing it. It's
That was the
because
cheer for Brian needs to leave.
No, this is just what Dan's doing is so interesting to me. So
I want to hear the questions you have, because if you have those questions, the audience has a question. So yeah, let it rip. And tell us what you're doing.
Start with Brian's question, but I think that's important. But I'm so curious.
Okay, so what we're doing essentially is we're building new foundational models that are consistently pushing the boundaries for what we can do for retail investors. So the world of investments is very restrictive, particularly for people that aren't multimillionaires. So if you are a multimillionaire, you can go hire a hedge fund to manage your money. The government actually restricts you from being able to do that if you are not a accredited or qualified investor. So what we're trying to do is push those boundaries of what we can offer the common man. And that you have to consider SEC constraints, insurance constraints, cost constraints, infrastructure, technology constraints. And that's outside of the actual models. So it's a very systematic, multi-year process to push those boundaries, with the eventual goal of being that someone with $125 in their bank account can invest the same way as someone with $125 million. And we're probably 5 to 10 years away from that.
How do you pick what assets you focus on? Is it algorithmic? And are you restricted domestically, internationally?
So currently we can only service US customers and clients. The way we pick assets a lot of that academic research is available to people. It's just the implementation is really difficult for smaller amounts of assets when you don't have millions and millions of dollars, and you can directly short different kinds of stocks, use derivatives, use futures, etc. So the biggest challenge is how do we scale that down as much as possible? But these models, believe it or not, exist. So what happens is top researchers in the world, researchers don't care about commercialization and implementation, but hedge funds do. So they go find researchers, they read these white papers and say, congratulations, here's a few million dollars, you are now our advisor. All you have to do is remove these white papers. And what you'll find, go on any LLM, look up white papers of very promising, doesn't even have to be high frequency strategies, can be tactical asset allocation strategies. And what you'll find is many of the white papers that are referenced by the LLM are no longer accessible.
What? That's wild. Thank you, Scully, over there. And Mulder. I couldn't get Mulder, but I got Scully. That's fascinating. You're talking to somebody who literally was trading 20x perps on a decentralized perp exchange, like shorting Fartcoin on the drive down here, that had to connect to my VPN on my phone. And Mike, hold on a second. I got to close this trade out. So no, I love the idea of how stale retail investing is becoming, or has been for so long. And you walk into an Edward Jones and you're going to get the same experience. Regardless of the massive transition the world has gone through, and to bring that down to the common man is
so on the
noble.
on the common man note, is it something then that you're also creating that individuals who do not have a great deal of education or understanding of financial markets are able to decipher the information that you've provided and make decisions based on the kitchen table kind of math that they're able to do, but utilize what information you've provided in order to make more sophisticated types of investments?
So that's a really great question and brings up a good point. So there have been some studies done on financial literacy and pass rates for both high school and college university students. And that pass rate for basic financial literacy dropped from 34% to just 16% in the last 15 years or so. And we're talking, do you know what a credit card is, right? Yeah. Simple things like that, not to mention investments. So everyone goes through a journey. Let's be real. Not everybody finds investing fun. It's a necessary evil because you want to achieve financial freedom at some point. So everyone goes through a journey. At first, they don't know what they're doing, so they download a brokerage app that doesn't really help them much. Robinhood, Webull, they start trading, then they lose a bunch of money. It's all part of the journey. Then they eventually find a robo-advisor that's using these old 70-year-old models that's trying to optimize taxes and other things that don't really protect you from the market crashes. And then they realize they would have done better just buying the S&P 500. Then they realize, wow, there's not much out there that really serves the modern retail investor when you're not a multi-millionaire. So the educational part is reducing having to be educated, because we can't make the assumption that everybody's going to become an investing genius. That's a very tough bet. What we can do is say we've automated it fully, and in 5 minutes or less, you can be in the strategies that Jeff Bezos is investing in through multiple hedge funds.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting stuff.
Anything else?
A lot, but
You gotta go. Okay. It's only an hour show.
take it off.
Right.
Take it off. Take
He
it
wants
off
a screen in front of him. He like fire this up, man. Let's take a look.
I'll take it off camera. But this is for both Clay and I. By the way, this is excellent company that you're working on. This is a passion of both Clay and I on the side. So I apologize, Brian.
No, when I bring people in the room and they're able to geek out together, I just like to lay back and watch it. Yeah,
it is truthful. Like, I think there's a phrase, and we got into this. There's a lot easier ways to make money than start a company. And we were both executives at a cushy job, making plenty of money, and we were investing that money, and that's allowed us to pursue entrepreneurship. And we've paid ourselves through our investments. But I was trading derivatives as a 16-year-old through my mom's E-Trade account. So not everybody goes through that experience, and I love the it's just very noble to bring these strategies to everyday people.
Is that why the Colorado authorities were after you?
Yeah, no. This is I didn't write, my income tax to the state of Colorado as a 14.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like a friendship's been made here. You guys are going to be geeking out on the topic. We'd love to hear some of your thoughts, but I definitely want to complete the loop on the question I had for you guys.
Yeah. So I can correlate this back to what we're doing, because I think what you talk about is just this kind of stale way of looking at traditional investing. And I think what Mike and I saw and the opportunity that we pursued was exactly the way we think about pricing software today, particularly business software. So a brief 90-second history lesson. 25 years ago, when you needed to, review and edit a PDF, you bought a perpetual license of Adobe Acrobat. You bought it from Best Buy, you paid $550, and you owned it in perpetuity, right? Salesforce comes along and they invent, SaaS pricing, where you pay monthly. You're renting Salesforce and you pay monthly or yearly, but you don't own it. You have to pay monthly to consume Salesforce. And Salesforce ships updates and they continue to make the product better, so you feel okay paying that value. Well, Salesforce made a lot of sense because, they charged you per person that was accessing the database and pressing the screens. That model persisted for 20 years. But as AI comes in and starts to deliver more and more outcome, we need to think of AI more as labor. And we need to charge for it more like labor. And so you charge for the outcomes that they produce. And I think that most software vendors, both legacy vendors and startups, are recognizing this and are saying, well, traditional software that I use to bill my customers no longer cut it. Now I need software that can track the outcomes that my software delivers. I need to be able to, quantify the value that I'm delivering to my customer and somehow tie that to price, because that's how our buyers want to buy. And so what we've built at Atlas is billing infrastructure for this new age of, labor, AI labor, and allowing companies to charge for that labor in a way that best match the price to value ratio for their customers.
Okay.
And you think, are you saying that this is dynamic in its ability to price, and that it's basically kind of performance oriented?
Exactly. It can be. I mean, I think one thing that we have been surprised about is we were very bullish on the idea of everything is going to be usage based and depend on how much you consume. And I think that that hypothesis hasn't played out like we actually have seen it. We see some customers, large organizations, still preferring, a fixed rate, an annual rate, a 3-year contract that they can have a predictable spend regardless of how much they use. We see other customers, especially, new emerging AI tools, tend to opt more for a prepaid credit model where I put $100 in the jukebox and I can play as many songs as I want. And I get, as soon as I run out of all that money, I have to refill it. That's kind of what the big AI players are doing right now. But they're all over the map. And so the one thing that people need is flexibility. And that's really where we're winning, is once we're installed, we allow, the product and marketing teams and engineering teams to change how they're charging their customers. Maybe they charge you a certain way and they charge you a completely different way based off how you want to pay. And that is somewhat novel.
And can I add something there, Brian? This is where, too, I think a good comparison can be made, where legacy billing infrastructure was really meant to serve a single business model, right? Seat-based, perpetual, enterprise licensing agreements, and to be able to do anything more than that, it took, as Clay explained earlier, sometimes quarters of engineering time to build out the extension of that billing infrastructure that would allow you to perform other business models besides the ones they were built for, right? The evolution that Atlas is bringing is an acknowledgement first that nobody knows what the right business model for their AI is right now. Nobody knows. We don't know yet. We hope to be on the cutting edge of helping you figure that out, because we've got great agentic product that soaks in a lot of data, both first party and third party, that will help you correlate what the best pricing and packaging and business model is for your product. But because you're not sure, you really need to start testing, learning, and iterating as fast as you do your product. The way you build your product should be the same way you build your business model. Now, especially because you don't know what that business model is going to be. It's not set in stone, and therefore the legacy business model applications just do not allow you to operate at that speed. Atlas does.
And I think you leave money on the table with those old models because there are people out there who want bits and pieces and slices and small business owners can take advantage of having small bites at the apple when they need it. Pay maybe extra. You guys have millions of those customers out there who are extremely dissatisfied with the existing model, but that you can charge each one of them individually in a way if you can tailor it to various individuals and individual needs.
You got it. I mean, I'm sure you either software you use to run the pod, right? My wife runs a clinical psychology office, and she uses SaaS software for that, and is so frustrated because she needs one feature. She needs HIPAA compliance, and they put her in the top tier, and it doesn't make any sense, right? She wants to piecemeal that in there, and so I think. I think there is customer demand for a little bit more bespoke pricing, but then also with AI, there's just a tremendous upheaval in just the price to value ratio that people expect.
Yeah. Brian, you're on.
I know I'm on a roll today, Brian. I'm taking over from you today. Sorry, I don't know why. I was going to say there seems like a good matchup here. Like these guys should all be working together too.
You're seeing the Matrix today, Brian.
I am. I'm seeing it all. It's just all happening over there in front of me.
Oh yeah, come plug in, man.
You're on the sound effects, got it on point.
Let me get you one of these.
Sometimes even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
I love it. So let me bring this full circle. We have a few minutes left to go. We can go a little bit longer because Dan, I want to definitely come to you with this. But you guys talked about the importance of storytelling.
Yeah.
You gave us a little bit of education on what it is you're working at. We're understanding it. Now tie it all together. That customer experience. Someone comes to you. You did it kind of with your wife.
Yeah.
But give me an example of they come to you. This is the experience. This is the outcome.
So we've got. I love this question. This is something that Clay and I talk about often, and we're certainly beginning to get to the maturity of not just our product but our business, where we are getting qualitative and quantitative impact and value out of our customers. And one specifically, I'll call the CEO out. His name is Shikhar Mishra. He runs an agentic company called Alfred. They make product management and sales agents for other SaaS companies. For him, and the story that we really told him that brought him on Atlas was this idea that, hey, you're going into extremely competitive spaces, right? You're going to try to enter a product management or an industry of product management solutions that's very competitive. You're going to try to enter an industry of sales tech that's probably even more competitive. And we want to be the rock in your satchel if you're David and all of those guys are Goliath, right? We want to get to the point where we are taking away, and running agentically through our platform what you would have had to hire humans for from a monetization perspective. We want to be able to price and package your products so you don't need a pricing analyst. We want to be able to update your billing infrastructure so you don't need a finance engineer. We want to be able to provide back to you churn and upsell and cross-sell updates so you personally can run all of those yourself as CEO, while all of your competitors are crushing their margins with the amount of heads that they need to hire just to monetize their product.
I got to introduce them to Hans of the Agentic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where they build the product for the customer for free until and then they help them engage with sales. And it seems like that would be the bridge
for these guys to be able to help Hans to be able to help his clients.
We're standing in front of 200 founders last week in Oakland and in Mountain View. There's no excuse not to build. Then the question becomes founder fit, because can they go out and sell and make that pricing effectively? And it sounds like this is now the natural progression.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mention that. Like we have a very solid thesis that there's going to be 10x the amount of software companies in the world in the next few years than there is now, because the barriers to entry are nothing, right?
Yeah.
But building is not the hard part. It's turning what you built into a business.
Yeah.
And so our whole thing is like, look, we are experts at this. You figure out your domain and how to build amazing podcast software for small, podcast drivers, right? Yeah. But let us help you sell it. And so we take care of all that stuff for you.
And so to round that out, just to answer your initial question, so what does that tactically look like for Shicker? First and foremost, our billing infrastructure, we built it so that Clay's wife could install it. We actually run that test often. So different from even like the most usable billing infrastructures like Stripe, Atlas is much easier to implement and install. And there's a lot of intelligence built into it where we inherit your business model from what we can go and grab. So it's essentially like launching business models, launching your pricing and packaging within seconds. Right. And then the ability for Shicker to come in and add intelligence layers to how he wants to monetize is all in how he can customize our agent to be his own pricing and packaging analyst. And that happens right now with Clay and I and with our team because we're still learning and building about that or building that part of the product. But, his experience and our customers' experience is one that we're trying to create a lot of ease.
Yeah. Dan, get on this. I mean, what, you have the same kind of journey to figure out, right? Educating the market on what you're creating and then their experience. Give us that journey, this just as Clay and Mike gave us the journey for your clients.
Sure. Yeah. So I think going to what I said earlier, there's a lot of different constraints and hurdles in our industry that don't exist in other industries. Most industries just have a technical hurdle. If you overcome the technical hurdle,
it's the retail industry.
Industry. That's right.
But the restraints and concerns are
compliance constraints, infrastructure, execution. I mean, physically, there's trades going on, and there's physical limitations. There's the SEC highly regulates the space as well. So there's various different types of constraints. So in our particular business, we have to systematically think about it and push the boundaries milestone at a time. We're fundamentally a deep tech company, so the majority of our innovation is just the technology. But we have to commercialize it directly to clients right now to prove that and to build trust with regulators, to even be able to get insured as formerly a registered investment advisor. But the eventual plan is there's over $19 trillion of capital being managed by models that are basically being eaten alive by the top 1% models that need to be replaced at some point. So the eventual goal is that we're a plug and play to the existing infrastructure for everyone.
And then it's just a quantitative number, right?
That's right.
You just out return and it's easy.
Yeah. Who ends up being the ideal customer? Maybe not right now, but like long term.
So one thing that you'll see in my history of companies I've started is they're all to some degree impact focused. I measure my success in the number of people I've impacted, not number millions of dollars that I've made. Starting with the bike locks, that was actually secretly a climate change company, right? But this is addressing a much deeper issue, which is economic disparity in this country. That's growing exponentially. Social security is slated to close to run out within the next 15, 20 years. So the United States is unique in the sense that we are highly also armed and know how to use it. If there's one thing that's increasing our risk of a civil war here over the next few decades, is this economic disparity. We're talking tens of millions of Americans that can't retire, have to go back to work. And these are things that policy cannot get us out of.
Have you read that Ray Dalio's book, The Changing World Order?
It's on my to-do list.
Oh, definitely read that.
It's like chapter 2. He's talking exactly what he said. It's great.
So our end goal is very much the retail investor that today may have less than $1,000 in their bank account, but they're young enough that if they start today in 40 years, they're actually going to be able to retire.
So is that best delivered through like an application experience like Robinhood? Is it best delivered through the financial advisor group, some other mechanism? Like how do you think about that?
Yeah, so Robinhood is a brokerage. brokerage do not give you advice on how to invest. They actually make their money by the more you trade and the dumber the trades you make, particularly low volume, highly risky options trades that they sell data called payment for order flow to market makers and hedge funds like Citadel, for example. That's over 85% of their revenue is coming from that. Historically. So
their revenue is coming from a bunch of consumers using the product, making mistakes, and then them selling the data back to the machine.
In short, yes.
How can I impact the world with this? I think you're plugged into AI today, Brian, because these questions, I don't know where they're coming from, but they're great. Keep going. Yeah,
He's got Cluey up there.
Yeah, you get something.
I often sit here thinking these things just for some reason I'm inspired to actually speak today.
Well, keep doing it, man. I like this.
Well, the world of finance, because I mean, I got to say, it's about time. Honestly, right? Like it's about time because the Charles Schwabs and the Fidelities of the world have been charging a fee and trade fees and bits and pieces fees, and nobody's really actually getting a great, huge benefit from it.
Exactly.
Oh, preach. Keep it coming, Brian. Oh, my gosh.
So we need somebody.
Who are you right
Someone
now?
give this guy 2 microphones.
And here's the thing, it gets worse in the financial industry. You are being charged the percentage of your assets. So as they grow, you're getting penalized. Where the amount of actual work a financial advisor does, these models you can do in an Excel spreadsheet once a year for a few hours.
It's outdated.
It's completely
100%.
outdated. What we're doing is very expensive to run on a minute by minute basis to the tune of running your own AI, essentially your own LLM. So we are proud to charge a percentage of assets because we earn it. But no one else does. And to answer your question, it's going to be through advisors. Most people never want to become financial gurus and financial experts. So at some point, you want to start with automation, make it really easy, and eventually you want to talk to either an AI or AI-powered human being that can help you come up with the right answer to the more complex decisions.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Please, go on. The energy's great. I'm just going to bottle it up and keep serving it up.
So because we see a similar challenge, right? Obviously, very different scenarios, but someone who has spent not nearly as much time as you, but a lot of time in the finance space, these things are not intimidating to me anymore. But they're intimidating to 95% of people, right? And when we go and we try to talk about pricing and packaging with founders, a lot of times the objection we'll get is, oh, we're not ready for that. But really what that means is, dude, I am fucking terrified about that, so I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to avoid it. How do you guys think about getting to the 95% of people who are just brutally scared about this part of their life, right? And how intimidating
and consequently
that is.
Totally avoidant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see it in my personal life all the time.
Yeah.
Except that you were shorting meme coins earlier on the way down on your ride.
Yeah, absolutely. No, not me personally. I'm just thinking of people in my life that I'm just like, let's talk investing, and they're terrified of it.
Clay is the opposite.
No,
but like,
I'm
how do you get to the people who are avoidant there?
Yeah, so fortunately, most people at some point in their lives are forced to participate in some sort of investment vehicle, whether it's their jobs make them get a 401k or somebody gets them to open an IRA or a brokerage, or they have a pension. So the vast majority of people have one of these instruments. There's also Social Security as well that is actively invested. Right? So the short answer there is we may never be able to change those people's minds, but that's okay. That's why we're building this as a deep tech with the long-term focus being they won't even know they're using us.
Right. May not change their minds, but you can change their returns, right?
But we can change their returns in a meaningful way.
So to Brian's question, I might have missed it, but who's using this now? Who's the customer now?
So right now, it's direct to retail, mostly high net worth individuals that are using it in order to help us build the track record to achieve the next milestone.
Now, I may be this not catching this. When you say retail, who is that person? I'm thinking
You and me.
Okay, so consumer.
Yeah,
I
people
usually
in
say
this room.
consumer.
That's
Okay, I think retail. I think big box. Right. I think that industry. So-
Like retail versus institutional, right?
Right.
Versus like
exactly.
certified hedge
Retail
fund.
is mom and pop, working
Consumer.
jobs,
Okay.
raising
The
a
consumer.
family, going home, cooking
right.
dinner.
Got it. Okay. That
And then
was
in their spare time at 9 o'clock at night, they sit on the couch and try and figure out how the money markets work.
they trade
And-
Fartcoin.
Yeah, exactly.
Trade
10x
for
leverage.
coin.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but when you sign up for an investment app, they'll ask you a few questions based on your income. And it essentially goes retail, then accredited, then qualified. So accredited, some of us may be accredited. That's if you make over, $200,000-$300,000 per year. You have some liquidity. Qualified is you have $5 million, basically.
Do you have
liquid.
users now who are using this product?
Yeah, we have a few hundred users right now, and we're doing it very carefully. We're in milestone phase 1. The next phase is we're opening up the floodgates a little bit more because right now most of our users are high net worth. They probably could qualify as accredited.
Now, I don't know if that's code or not. What do you mean you're going to wait to open up the floodgates?
Well, and here on Silicon Valley, we'd love to figure out how we can partner with you to get that message out to our listeners and users. Like when you're ready to go, it would be a great, for our audience to be able to get in on that if possible.
Yeah. So how far do you want to go with answering that question?
Yeah, so we are approaching our 3-year track record mark, which is a pivotal milestone.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We were one of the few, I guess in the industry, you can call them robo-advisors, that was able to reduce significally drawdown and have a positive return during 2022, for example.
But is this all? I assume all these metrics matter for
Absolutely.
different certs or different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, the next thing we're doing is we're pushing boundaries again with crazier, higher return models, lower drawdowns. So right now we started with the next level above strategic asset allocation, which is kind of our take on tactical asset allocation. It's 12 times more active than what you get from other robo-advisors, but it gets a lot more sophisticated than that.
Okay. I like it. And once again, the name of your company?
Sidepocket Financial.
Sidepocket Financial. I like it. It fits.
It's very exciting stuff.
Yeah. So
everybody, this is we've had a great conversation today. It's been a great episode, and everybody here is just bringing tons of energy and great ideas. Love it. That's what we're all about here. Oh yeah, Brian.
I'm just in awe of you right now. I don't even know who you are. Like usually
You
you're
guys
over
should
there.
just trade seats.
I
already.
deserve to be here and I'm worthy of being here, and whatever I don't know, I can learn.
Yes, you are. I often suspect you're playing solitaire over there, but today you're on your game. I truly believe it. I mean, great job.
Yeah,
Brian.
I finally decided to listen one time, and I'm like amazed at what people are talking about in this studio.
Yeah,
It's shocking.
that's good.
Really smart people.
So Dan, what's next for you, and how can people connect with you?
Please add me on LinkedIn. I'm one of those entrepreneurs that I give my phone number out. If you don't like the product, if you have an issue, I will call me. I will probably pick up the phone.
I got a feeling you have a small team. You've been very lean at this point.
So for this company, our team is about 20 people. Generally, I prefer small teams, nimble teams, so we can move fast. But this is a small
Everybody
team.
in the Bay or all over the place?
I would say half of us are in the Bay, and then mostly in the United States, Texas and Chicago and so on.
All right. So I know for Clay and Mike, this question is the same. What's next for you guys? And then how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so we are gearing up for a very important fall. Very similarly, Clay and I are much better in person and on the phone, so please call us. We'll give you our phone numbers too. No, Dan, I think one thing I want to just commend you on is like the impact that all of your businesses have. Similarly, Clay and I measure the success of Atlas based on the amount of money our customers are able to bill. We want to power the next level, the next wave of entrepreneurs. And so this fall, Clay and I are like living out here in the Bay, connecting with tons of ambitious founders. We're growing our customer base. We do have our next raise on the horizon, and so the best way to get in touch with us if you're interested in using Atlas is www.runonatlas.com. We have a free product up there right now, and you can certainly connect with us to look at our advanced solutions. If you're an investor, just reach out to Clay and I on LinkedIn. We're very active there, and we'd love to speak.
Yeah, I asked you guys what would be a good win for you today, and how can they connect with you? So I definitely want Dan give you that question again. What would be a good win? Anything else to follow up on?
Same as Dan, I think we probably know more about SaaS billing and pricing and packaging than we even realize. It is a scary thing. It is half art, half science, but we're always willing to talk. I think one thing that has been helpful with Mike and I's background, we're both sellers, both consultants, spent a lot of time listening. And, we're always happy to talk to people. So find us on LinkedIn and give us a holler.
Yeah, big win here would be if we get, multiple conversations that come out of this, both, new customers or investors. We want to connect.
All right. Well, I got a great place for you guys to stay when you come out in the fall. We're going to be doing a lot of connecting out there. So
I heard there was a Napa trip.
Yeah, that's
okay. We'll be in Napa trip.
So the place we're staying is in Napa?
No, it's going to be at Stack. You guys been out at Stack. They're both out
We
there
can
all the
start in
time.
Oakland, and then
Yeah.
we can move along to Napa and drink our way all the way up there.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
In.
Yeah.
In.
Let's
All right.
let's vineyard
Dan,
crawl
wait,
this.
don't queue yet. Don't queue yet. I want to ask Dan the same question
Oh, wow,
about
sorry.
you missed a big win for you today. I definitely want you to get your message out because you've said a lot of amazing stuff,
Yeah.
but I just make sure you're able
Plus
to bottle
one.
it up. Yeah.
So I think right now, internally as a company, we've been operating in a very efficient fashion just to prove out the models, prove out the technology. We are now at the point where we are ready to raise outside capital and raise a round in order to commercialize this in a very meaningful way within the next 12 to 18 months. So any investors interested, particularly in deep tech, I think we're OpenAI pre-ChatGPT right now.
Okay.
Oh, I love that. This is like the Davids. If you're a David looking to take on a Goliath, come talk to all of us.
Absolutely.
All right.
I love it.
Well put. Well, Graham, JP, thanks for joining us today. Dan, Clay, Mike, and Brian, thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Walk us out of here, buddy.
That's my cue.
There you go. All right. You all take care. We'll see you next week. Stay safe. See you soon.